and I'm presenting today's webinar on creating assignments for a diverse learner. So what you're looking at now is the assignments page on my LMS, my course in the LMS Canvas at the university, and you're looking at the set of assignments that I created for the course. We're only going to look at 3 of these assignments so I can show a couple of things. First, the idea of scaffolding, the idea of building multiple assignments for one goal, and bringing in previous knowledge that the student has so he or she can apply it to a current situation. And number 2, looking at various ways of presenting an assignment or giving a student an option to present an assignment in 1 or 2 or 3 ways to accommodate their learning style. And in this particular webinar, we're going to be looking at learning styles that are not the usual common ones that we all know about. Read, write, those who see, understand what's written in the text. Oral, those that hear lectures or some sort of a rhyme or a rhythm to information, will understand it more quickly and remember it. Then we have our kinesthetic learners, those that need to do stuff as they're learning. And then we have our traditional visual learners, which I think at this point in our evolution of the science of learning styles, I think most of us have had to adapt a more visual learning style overall. So for this particular case in point that I'm going to be using in this particular example, we're going to be looking at the way that I offered students a different way of approaching completing a research paper. So the first thing I did was break up the assignment into 3 different steps. Step number 1, prospectus, give me a prospectus and an annotated bibliography where they explain to me what they're going to work on, what they already know. Very informal, just discovery kind of assignment. Once they submit their first step, then they really begin to delve into what we know as the traditional research process. And I'm not going to get into all the different sources I have, resources rather. This was a face-to-face class, by the way. It was not an online class. It was a face-to-face blended. And I created this shelf for my students. And they absolutely loved using it. So by all intents and purposes, other than the fact we have to sit in class for 4 hours every week, we really did learn in a blended format, and they loved it versus, one that's not. So in this particular assignment, I allow the students to either submit a traditional outline with a couple of visual charts that they can just create on PowerPoint, to be honest, and then import it or, import into Word or so on and so forth. There's different ways that they can do it. And or to submit a infographic using PictoChart. So now these are adult learners. These were men and women that were in their late 40s, 50s, going back to school to make it to the next level in their career. So I understood from that, by looking at my audience, that some of these students were going to be more comfortable doing something that they remembered in high school, like an outline for a research paper. And then some of these students were going to be completely modernized and just in the tech world, and there were more designers, so I gave them the opportunity to show me through design. So the final step in the research paper was to yes, they have to physically write a paper. So that's always the final the final step. So they have a requirement to do the research paper, which is a very traditional. They have a traditional way of brainstorming without really knowing they're brainstorming, kind of, just talking, let things out of their brain. So hopefully, something burgeons from that activity. And then finally, their ability to create a visual component to an otherwise very traditional assignment. So if this would have been a literature class or an English class within a major, instead of the traditional research paper, I could have had them do a comic strip with with their findings, or an example of a scenario, a shorter paper, let's say 1 to 2 pages, and then a visual attachment to it. or something to that effect. But my goal is to kind of use multiple intelligences that the students have, which are